while we defend devolution, we must also ensure that we do not just speak to devolution in politics, but in the reality. Trevor, let me just show you something that will surprise you, and this is important, that infrastructure is at the core of governance so much that we cannot ignore certain things. We cannot ignore the fact that since the advent of devolution, counties have benefited from funds. I'll just move by way of example, and that is just show how inaccurate Governor Nyong'o's statements are. Since the advent of devolution, in fact, from the time of yes, from no, not even Jack, the first governor, when devolution came into place, Kisumu has secured, was appropriated. So far, we have secured. Kisumu has received 71.3 billion Kenya shillings, because we receive about 12 billion per financial year. Homa Bay has received 69.5 billion.
Nandi.
Migori 70.7 billion, Siaya 61.2 billion. Now we have key projects that are highlighted. Just to show you briefly, the Kabonyo Kanyagwal project, which is in Nyamori's backyard, is now underway at a cost of 2.5 billion. Thanks to some of these projects, or some of the developers that have come in the advent of the new framework. We have specific projects. The Lake Victoria Marine Rescue Coordination Center at 800 million. These are projects that are ongoing, real projects. The Mbita Homa Bay and Kindu Bay rehabilitation, 600 million going on. Homa Bay Fish Market, that is also going on. Plus the Rusinga Ring Road, that is being constructed 1.2 billion. I just want to show Trevor that some of the pronouncements by Governor Nyong'o, though they are intended to show that counties need a grip on governance, cannot be further from the truth. You cannot compare the period after the enactment of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, in August 2010, to what was prevailing then. You cannot compare the regime of President Ruto to the regime of President Moi, when we had a unitary system where the national determined every process. Correct. And it is that time, Trevor, where the roads in Wamunyoro, the ones he's talking about, were all constructed during the Uhuru Kenyatta time and the previous time, when you had during right from independence, the central government determined every process, Parliament determined every process. Then it was one Parliament. It spoke the language of the executive. You cannot compare, and therefore that's the statement by Governor Nyong'o is unfortunate to that extent. Right. To the extent that we must protect devolution, is correct that we need to have a framework that protects devolution, and that's why we have Senate. We cannot therefore politicize reality. The reality is that we have a framework that protects devolution, that oversights devolution, that speaks to issues. The RLMF fund must be applied for the benefit of the people. It has to be appropriated through Parliament. Okay. How you then accuse President Ruto that we in the face of all these projects, that now we are back with Moi's time, is unfortunate.
Okay. Let me bring in Ruto on this. Do you agree that the truth is that the Ruto regime has decided to go back on pre-devolution times of the Nyayo era, like Professor Nyong'o was saying?
And I dare say, before I move, it is also blackmailish.
Blackmail. We'll talk about blackmail.
Is there